What's up? What's up? Welcome back to the manga magazine series. And today I have a new series to introduce. This is the Axe magazine. So, in the past, I have done mainly, well, actually, only the Gyro magazines, of course. But now I'd have some Axe magazines that I want to show off because if you didn't know, Axe is the sort of spiritual successor of Gyro. Towards the end of Gyro, we had some of like the staff and the people involved in that magazine transfer over and create their own magazine, that being Axe. So the publisher of this is Seirin Kogeisha, and I have read maybe, I don't know, 12, 15 of these Axe issues. I've read more Gara issues, of course, but Axe is, it's still ongoing to this day, by the way. This is volume 4. There are currently, I believe, 158, 150, 160 something. And so it's every 2 months that they release an issue. So I wanted to start off with the earlier issues because what's really cool about these early issues, I believe, what date was this? Yeah, this was 1998. The early issues of Axe, they have these very nice fold-outs of color illustrations. So on the back as well, kind of has something on the back. Whoops. Sakabashira Imiri. But yeah, the cover, the person who did the cover art for this book is Sakabashira Imiri, known for his manga and his softbee toys as well. And that color illustration in the inside as well is also Imiri too. So we'll just get started into it because there are less, I guess, less stories in. Well, it's okay. Let me rephrase that. Number one, Axe is a smaller in size than Garo, so it's like a normal tankobon uh, size. And looking at the stories, there are quite a lot of stories, but they're shorter, at least towards the start. And we are in 1998, so you will still notice some mangaka that were serialized in Garo in here too. And of course, with this manga magazine series, we'll have Garo, we'll have Axe. So you can see the difference in the progression from Garo to Axe. So the first story that we have is titled "Splendid Fish," "立派な魚," by, of course, Sakabashira Imiri. And essentially, what that is just like it's the the frog creature and the cat creature. They're visiting hell to find just big and splendid fish to catch. And so with Sakabashira's work, you will love it if you are very into monsters and creatures and very intricate illustrations with weird landscapes and weird creatures. But yeah, quite a short one actually. That's all they're doing here. They're just going in and catching big fish in hell. So we move on to the next story. This one is by Hanawa Kazuichi, uh, and it is, I believe, a chapter of his Doing Time series. So just to give some background, I'll put the specific dates in the description. But Hanawa Kazuichi, was arrested and jailed for 3 years for the possession of illegal firearms in Japan. So I believe he had like a modified handgun or something somewhere. He was in like rural Japan and he was caught and hence jailed. But when he came out of that, he serialized his award-winning work, Doing Time, in Axe. And yes, it did win awards. I think it was I'm not sure which awards it was. I think it might have been like a like an overseas or international world award. But this is just one of the stories, one of the chapters within that book, which is very much based on his experiences there in the 3 years that he was incarcerated, and it's a big shift from his earlier career with his Edo Guro works because this is focusing on him, and it was translated into English, although it is out of print, unfortunately. So now we move on to another mangaka which I don't believe I've shown yet on the channel. This is Akiyama Ayuko, a text titled the Tsuchigumo text. So with Akiyama Ayuko and what I have read so far from her one-shots, she has a very intricate art style, and this story is looking at a master and his servant, I guess, encountering and battling and braving a variety of yokai and monsters. So here they're just following a talking head. They come into and encounter all these weird monsters, weather, yokai, that sort of thing. And so I think there was like, yeah, this really weird big head thing as well. But I think this was there also like a spider creature? There might have been. But yeah, the story I'm not too sure about, but essentially the premise is, oh, there we go. We have the big spider. Yeah, that master and the servant just encountering all of these different things. And if you can see as well, they're numbered. So I guess it's like a sort of story that is structured maybe to fit like a traditional um, text from way back when. But the art is amazing. Akiyama Ayuko's works, she most of the time, well, I think no, all of the time, all of them have very intricate uh, detail in the artworks. I haven't read her tankobon yet, just random one shots throughout acts. So, you know, the more I go through these acts issues, the more you'll see a lot of these mangaka in action. Because with Garo, you know, the more videos I do on Garo, I guess the more familiar you'll be with the actual mangaka and the types of stories they do. So acts is a completely new territory for this channel right now, but definitely am planning to do more of them in this series. Maybe do back and forth between Axe and Garo. I'll see how it goes. And of course, we've got some Nemoto Takashi, the Hetauma mangaka, very well known for very crude and just a lot of genitals, genitalia, that sort of thing. Then we move on to a story by Shiriagari Kotobuki titled The Twin Adults, or Oyaji no, no, Futago no Oyaji. And it's like a gag series done by, again, another Hetauma mangaka, which I have showcased on the channel. In my Hetauma video, I showcased a story titled Jacaranda, which I think is such a great series by him. But throughout acts, he has these comedic gag series between the of these twin brothers throughout the earlier issues. But yeah, that was Shiriagari Kotobuki. We've got a mangaka named Toyou Kataoka, who I don't really read his works, but he does like, it is quite sexual sometimes as well. Gag series, I guess. But yeah, you notice so far, you know, each story is only a couple pages, and there is a trend of that happening in the earlier issues at least. Now we move on to, this is not a manga, but a set of illustrations titled Blue Guitar by Anzai Hajime. And yeah, set of illustrations. I don't believe there's a story or anything, but that's interesting because I can't really find any information on Anzai. But there you go. And now we move on to, some people may know about this. This is Tokyo Zombie by Hanakuma Yuusaku, another Hetauma mangaka. And Tokyo Zombie was published in English quite a while ago, but is out of print. And this is chapter 4 of that series. So I do have this book in Japanese, I just haven't read it yet. But you notice the trends, a lot of Hetauma stuff. I mean, from the 80s onwards, Hetauma took a huge turn, and it blew up, right? So if you think of 60s, 70s Garo, you're looking at Shirato Sanpei, Mizuki Shigeru, all the Gekiga stars like Tsuge brothers and all of that. And then those, I guess in my head, I think of it as like a second generation of Gekiga artists as well. You have people like Shinichi Abe, Oji Suzuki, Mazuzo Furukawa that came after Tsuge and were inspired by people like Tsuge and Shirato and all that. And then you had all of the Hetauma coming in. So like Ebisu popping in. You had more Eroguro as well that was popping in for Garo. So that's the Hetauma craze continued into Acts, of course. So this is a first chapter of a story titled Jinbal Rock by Tomohiro Koizumi. Uh, Koizumi does do a lot of series on adolescence, on the youth, and about people growing up. Uh, his stories are not my thing entirely, but yeah, that's just a description of some of the stuff he has done for acts. A lot of stories about like set in high school, focus on teenage boys, that sort of thing. Yeah, so now we're like in the middle of the issue. We have a story called Wild Mountain Life by Moto Hideyasu. Uh, I follow him on Instagram. He's got this like his character designs are very distinct, very much like deformed heads, that sort of thing with simple face designs, but you can tell it's Hideyasu from miles away just looking at his works there. So Wild Mountain Life, I'm not too sure what it's about either. It's because I don't have all of the early Axe issues. Like all the Axe issues I have are interspersed. I've got volume 4, I've got volume 8, and then 13, 12, and then randomly up to 40, 50, and then 120, that sort of thing. So anything that has multiple chapters that have been serialized in this magazine, I probably won't understand just because I don't have them in order. So I'll do my best, but I'll show all of them anyways. Then you also got some Ebisu stuff as well. So you can tell this is Ebisu from the way he draws. It's only his drawings. Someone else does the art, the story, but those are some Yonkoma works. Now we've got a story titled Diet by Tsuchihashi Toshiko. New mangaka to me as well. It is, as the name suggests, focusing on a woman who wants to get healthier. And when she finally exercises and goes running, she really feels the burn. And I think it's like she's literally burning. I can't say that word properly. But moving on, this is one of my favorite stories of this specific issue. This is a story titled The Memories of Ip by Tani Hiroji. So Tani Hiroji I have shown on the channel. He did the Guns N' Roses tankobon. Check out the Weird and Wild video on my channel if you want to see that in detail. Tani Hiroji has also done works in Garo as well. So all these mangaka, they moved from Garo to Axe too. So you'll be seeing some familiar faces. But Memories of Ip is about of course, Ip. Ip is this boy here in the bed, and our main character, I guess, is another boy who visits Ip because currently he is sick. He's got an illness where he can't really go to class, and so he's just bedridden pretty much. But when the boy visits Ip, he notices that Ip has so many cool stories to tell. He has such a strong sense of imagination that he always looks forward to listening to Ip talk about these cool stories. But yeah, Ip is quite pale. He's bedridden. But over time they do become friends and develop a bond. And this is some really cool imagery showcasing Ip's imagination, right? And this is them talking in a visual way to express them interacting. But one day, Ip has to leave, and when he leaves, he gives the boy a postcard of this garden with some statues in them. And so time passes, years pass, and now we have the boy in his adult life where he looks back to the past when he met Yip. And so now he finds that he's developing the same symptoms where he is pale, he is bedridden, and what Ip's illness actually was that his illness was related to his imagination. So his imagination was so strong that I guess it overcompensated and took out some of his health as well. So the man here, he's now developing that same illness. So and he understands that. So he's pale and bedridden, and at the end of the story, um, we have reality blending with imagination, much like it was for Ip. And the man, he wonders whether it's time for him now to visit to the garden that Ip showed him in like a while ago with this postcard here. And you actually see Ip and his mum waiting. So it seemed to be about like this reality bending sickness um, that both of these people had, and they sort of get reunited towards the end. But that is a very interesting story to think about. I really love that one. I do love Tani Hiroji in general, anyways. So yeah, that was one of my favorite stories of this issue. So we move on to what's this story? This is titled Drawing Fuji. I don't actually know what this story is about. Mangaka is Mitsumoto Yoshiharu, and I guess it's like a drama of sorts where they're decorating a onsen, public bath, maybe. I mean, I see a lot of, you know, decorations and all of that being made. There we go. We've got Fuji as well. Yeah, interesting one. Not too sure what happened, but there you go. And on the left here, we have a mangaka. Oh, we have Kikuchi Hironori, which, if you know, this is also Kikuchi. Does a lot of nonsensical works, gag stuff as well. Here are some yonkama works, nonsense stuff. Really fun. I don't know what's happening, but again, really fun to look at with Kikuchi's manga illustrations. So we continue on. There's a couple of different essays. Second last story we have is Banrogh, the frog. Frog. Why did I say frog? It's a bear. I don't know what I was looking at. This is by a mangaka named Hachimitsu, and it's actually I believe a picture book. So this is just one of the chapters in that picture book. It's either a picture book or just a full tankobon by itself. But we follow Banrogh, the bear, as he searches for honey. And while he is searching, he sort of climbs higher and higher, and even explores space. But this whole time he forgets that he was looking for honey in the first place. So he realizes and thinks, "Oh, what am I doing? I should have been looking for honey." So he goes back and finds honey. And I should have noted as well, Hachimitsu was not the name of the manga. That was my bad. The manga is actually on the bottom. I made a mistake. This is by Shingo Iguchi. Shingo Iguchi has done other works as well. Banrogh the Bear is just one of them. And now we have the last story that I can explain. This is Otoro by Kawai Katsuo. So Otoro, I believe, means fat, or it's like the fatty part of the tuna. And Kawai Katsuo was also in Garu too. And this one's kind of a crazy one. So to explain, these group of people, they're all tourists. They're stranded in a desert in Mexico. But they're starving, they're thirsty, and we have two of the tourists, two Japanese tourists, a couple, Tsuyoshi, the man, and Yukari, the woman. So the reason why they came out to the desert was because Yukari, she has an illness, and they want to find a cure for it, but it's a weird illness. And so they get lost, car breaks down, things start to get pretty bad for all of them. There's fights happening, no one trusts each other anymore. We've actually got one of them with a gun, right? And so what happens is that as they fight, they fall into a pit and they discover a whole, what's the collective term of this? A fleet of sushi? I don't even know. It's just a whole garden of sushi, tuna sushi to be specific, just sitting there. But to properly eat it, they need soy sauce. And so one of the people point out, and they out Yukari because her illness is that her blood, instead of being actual blood, it's actually soy sauce. So the entire group, including her boyfriend, decides to sacrifice her and get the soy sauce out of her body so they can eat um, the, the sushi. So that's pretty screwed up. But what they find, and I guess the punchline of this story, is that they discover it's not soy sauce, but it's Worcestershire sauce, however you pronounce that. Because it says here sauce, which I searched up, what does sauce mean? Because it doesn't say specifically the sauce, but I believe it just means like the Worcestershire sauce. I don't know how to pronounce it. But yeah, that's the punchline. It's not soy sauce, it's a different type of sauce. And they can't use that to eat sushi. So I guess they're screwed. But yeah, that was a pretty dark story to witness. But sure, man, that's Axe and Garo for you. So we have another story. This is chapter 7 of Life by Ayai Akiko. Chapter 7. So again, I'm not too sure what is happening over here. And then towards the end, there's actually one page where Tsuge Tadao has some works, like some illustrations at least. I believe it's towards the end somewhere. Oh, where is it? Is it here or is it maybe in another one I was thinking of? No, it must be another issue. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, Tsuge Tadao was not in this issue. It should be another one. But yeah, that was Axe issue 4, volume 4, published in 1998. So this is the first Axe issue that I'm showcasing in this manga magazine series, but there will be more to come. I've got this one sitting right next to me as well. This is volume 8. This is Midori Suihiro Maruo, of course. But I have tons of Axe magazines, so not to worry. If you are interested in this, I will, over time, be showcasing all of them on the channel. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. See you in the next video. Bye.